it was just like a weird, she was an actress, you know, and I think the pressure of that gig is just so crazy.
Yeah.
Some tales are just too vast for a single soul to bear. The incomparable Celine Dion, whose voice once hushed stadiums, has navigated triumphs and sorrows most of us can barely fathom. Beyond the accolades, the awards, and the shimmering stages was a woman who forged a multi-million-dollar empire, yet at a personal cost that left indelible scars no wealth could erase. Now, as her family surveys all she built, they don't see figures or properties. They see the immense toll paid in affection, in health, and in an enduring sorrow. From humble beginnings to global icon, Celine Marie Claudette Dion was born on March 30th, 1968, in Charlemagne, Quebec. The youngest of 14, she hailed from a working-class family that subsisted on music and unwavering faith. Her first bed wasn't a crib, but a blanket-lined drawer, symbolizing their scarcity alongside boundless love. Growing up in poverty meant worn clothes, brutal winters in thinly insulated homes, and nights touched by hunger. Yet her youth vibrated with music. Her parents were performers, and her older siblings practiced incessantly. For young Céline, singing wasn't just amusement, it was essential for survival. At 5, she sang at her brother's wedding. By 12, she had co-written her first song with her mother and recorded a demo with her brother Michel's assistance. That cassette found its way to René Anelil, a Montreal music manager. Upon hearing her voice, he reportedly wept, declaring it angelic. His profound belief led René to mortgage his home to finance her debut album. It wasn't merely business, it was an act of faith, marking the dawn of an unparalleled career in music history. By 1982, at just 14, Sale competed at the Yamaha World Popular Song Festival in Tokyo, performing for over 100 million television viewers. She clinched the competition, captivating global attention. But this recognition had its personal price. In her memoir, she'd later reflect, "I never had a teenage life. No prom. Only microphones, costumes, and 5 a.m. sound checks." While her peers enjoyed adolescence, she was phonetically mastering English, endlessly rehearsing, and shouldering her family's aspirations. Fame wasn't merely an aspiration, it was the Dion household's very survival. By the early 1990s, Celine Dion had blossomed from a young French-Canadian talent into an international force. Her pivot to the English market was daring. Executives doubted her strong accent, critics ridiculed her diction, and some even claimed a French singer couldn't penetrate American pop. But Céline stood firm. She meticulously studied English, syllable by syllable, rehearsing until every vowel felt natural, pushing her voice beyond what words alone could convey. In 1990, her album Unison marked her official English debut, and gradually, barriers crumbled. Her career soared with duets like Beauty and the Beast in 1992, a song that not only won an Academy Award but also cemented her reputation as a singer who transcended linguistic boundaries. From then, she was unstoppable. Album after album, award after award, her voice became the defining soundtrack of the decade. Then came 1997, when the film Titanic propelled her into a household name globally. My Heart Will Go On was more than a love theme, it became an anthem of sorrow and resilience. The single sold over 30 million copies worldwide, earning her an Academy Award and multiple Grammys. For millions, her poignant voice offered solace, a means to grieve, to recall, to heal. Yet even at her zenith, personal costs mounted. The world saw the gowns, the Grammys, the arenas, but not the exhaustion, the migraines, and the relentless tours that kept her from her family. In 2003, she began a Las Vegas residency at Caesar's Palace, a move critics initially scoffed at as her career's demise. Instead, she revolutionized entertainment, performing over 700 shows and grossing more than $600 million. Over 3 million fans flocked to see her in Las Vegas, each leaving feeling healed by her voice. But behind the thunderous applause, Celine was quietly grappling with the first whispers of health issues and the immense weight of responsibilities that seemed to eclipse life itself. Every note on stage was flawless, yet backstage she was beginning to feel the strain of a body struggling to meet the relentless demands of stardom, love, marriage, and loss. While the world admired Sale for her voice, behind the curtain, her life was shaped by one man, René Anal. Their bond began when she was just 12, a shy girl with imperfect teeth and a voice that moved him to tears. Initially, he was solely her manager, her guardian, in a harsh, unforgiving industry. But as years passed, their relationship deepened into something tender and enduring. By 19, Sen had fallen deeply in love with him. Their romance was often scrutinized due to their 26-year age difference, yet for her, it was a love rooted in trust, loyalty, and a shared dream. In December 1994, they married at Montreal's Notre-Dame Basilica in a ceremony broadcast live in Canada, watched by millions. For Celine, it wasn't just a wedding. It was the culmination of years of devotion to the man who had mortgaged his home to believe in her. Their marriage became a sanctuary amidst the chaos of stardom. He was her manager, her confidant, and the father of her children. When she sang of love, it wasn't merely a performance, it was a heartfelt testament. But fate was unyielding. In 1999, René was diagnosed with throat cancer, a devastating blow to Céline's world. She stepped away from the stage for 2 years to nurse him through surgeries and radiation treatments, standing by him when the man who always protected her suddenly needed her protection. He recovered for a time. But in 2013, the cancer returned, more aggressively. By then, he had stepped down as her manager, and Celine once again paused her career to care for him. On January 14, 2016, after years battling the disease, René Anel passed away at 73. 2 days later, on what would have been his birthday, Céline's older brother Daniel also succumbed to cancer at 59. Within 48 hours, she lost her husband and her brother, 2 cornerstones of her life. When she re-entered Notre-Dame Basilica for René's funeral, it was not as a bride but as a widow. The same aisle she once walked with joy now stretched endlessly before her in sorrow. From that moment, every song she performed carried the weight of absence. Audiences still saw sequins and heard soaring notes, but they couldn't see the empty chair in her heart, the silence where René's voice once whispered encouragement. For Celine, the stage no longer felt like triumph. It became a place of mourning disguised as music, motherhood, and silent battles. For Celine Dion, music was never her ultimate dream. Motherhood was. Growing up in a family of 14, she yearned to replicate that warmth and belonging despite her own impoverished childhood. But building her own family would prove to be one of her life's toughest struggles. After marrying René, she began trying to conceive, yet years of heartbreak ensued. Month after month, no child arrived. She turned to in vitro fertilization, enduring injections, surgeries, and endless treatments. She once admitted her belly was covered in bruises from the needles. Still, she refused to surrender. After 6 years of failed attempts, she finally became pregnant. In January 2001, her miracle child, René Charles, was born. She called him the most amazing reward of my life. Still, Céline longed to expand her family. She tried again, undergoing more rounds of IVF. This time, the journey was even more arduous. She endured 6 additional cycles, suffered crushing disappointment, and even experienced a miscarriage. For a woman who could command the world's attention on stage, these private struggles in silence were far more painful than any public criticism. Yet, she persevered. In October 2010, at 42, she gave birth to twin boys, Eddie and Nelson. Her joy was boundless, but fate struck again. In 2016, just as her twins turned 5, they lost their father. Overnight, Celine became both mother and father, raising 3 children while carrying her own grief. In interviews, she confessed that her children gave her a reason to keep living when she wanted to collapse. I'm not really a singer. My life is to be a mom, she told People. Even during her most difficult nights, she focused on bedtime routines, lullabies, and creating stability for her boys. Behind every dazzling performance, there was a mother who had whispered prayers in hospital rooms, wept quietly after miscarriages, and sacrificed her body and health for the chance to cradle her children. And now, as she raises Renee Charles, Nelson, and Eddie alone, she sees not just sons, but survival. Every time they laugh, every time they thrive, they remind her why she never gave up. The illness that silenced the stage. For decades, Celine Dion's voice was described as unshakable, a force of nature that could soar above orchestras and silence entire stadiums. But privately, she had already begun to notice that her body was no longer cooperating. As early as 2005, she felt a strange stiffness in her muscles, spasms that made her breathing more difficult. At first, she blamed fatigue, colds, even stress. But the truth was far darker. In 2012, she was diagnosed with a weakened vocal cord after collapsing during a rehearsal. Doctors ordered her to rest her voice for nearly 2 months. Then in 2018, she revealed that she was suffering from patulous eustachian tube, a rare ear condition that distorted her hearing and made it nearly impossible to sing. She underwent surgery and postponed part of her Las Vegas residency. Even then, she insisted on returning to the stage, determined not to let illness define her. By 2021, as she prepared for a new residency, her body betrayed her again. Muscle spasms became unbearable. She cancelled shows, apologizing to fans with a heavy heart. The following year, she finally revealed the truth. She had been diagnosed with stiff person syndrome, a rare neurological and autoimmune disease that affects about 1 in a million people. The disorder causes violent spasms, extreme stiffness, and eventually robs patients of their ability to walk and sing. In a video message to fans in December 2022, Celine's voice shook as she admitted, "I've been dealing with problems with my health for a long time. It affects every aspect of my daily life." For the first time in her career, she said she was not strong enough to perform. She cancelled her world tour, breaking the hearts of millions who had bought tickets not just to hear her songs, but to feel her presence one more time. The images that followed were heartbreaking. No longer the radiant diva in shimmering gowns, Cena appeared frail, thinner, often escorted by assistants. Her once effortless performances were replaced by therapy sessions, her microphone by walking sticks. Yet even in her suffering, her spirit refused to collapse. "If I can't run, I'll walk. If I can't walk, I'll crawl. But I won't stop," she told fans. It was not a lyric, it was a vow of survival, the fortune and the legacy. Through decades of relentless work, Celine Dion built an empire that few in music history can match. Her estimated net worth today is over 800 million. It is a fortune earned not through scandal or shortcuts, but through unyielding discipline, sleepless nights, and a voice that became the heartbeat of generations. More than 250 million records sold, multiple Grammy Awards, and Las Vegas residencies that revolutionized the entertainment business. All of it now stands as her legacy. Her wealth is not just numbers on paper, it is bricks and mortar, perfumes and songs, memories and tears. Her real estate once stretched across continents, a 72 million Bahamian-inspired estate in Jupiter Island, Florida, a French chateau on a private island in Quebec valued at 25.5 million, and a serene mansion in Nevada now worth 4.5 million, where her children still live. Her garage holds a Maybach 62, a Mercedes-Benz S350, and a Cadillac Escalade. She even owned a 42 million Bombardier Global Express jet, which once carried her between tours, recording studios, and the quiet refuges she sought in moments of grief. Yet to her family, none of this glitters as much as the sacrifices behind it. Every dollar represents a show performed when her body ached, a tour continued after losing her husband, a note held through tears she never let the audience see. When her children look at her fortune, they do not see wealth. They see the woman who whispered lullabies in hospital rooms, who endured needles and surgeries to bring them into the world, who stood alone after burying their father, uncle, and grandmother, and who still refuses to stop fighting even as her body betrays her. Her true fortune is not in estates or investments. It is in the love she gave, the resilience she embodied, and the music that will outlive all of us. And now, as her family stands quietly before this immense legacy, they cry not for the money, but for the woman behind it, Celine Dion, the mother, the widow, the daughter, the artist who gave everything she had so the world could believe in love a little longer. Celine Dion's story is not only about fame and fortune, but about the profound cost of carrying them. Her family now holds both her legacy and her pain in their hands. Which of her songs has touched your life the most? Share your answer in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories of the legends who shaped our world.